Well, today my guest is a return host, Dr. Joshi from Illinois. He's a pain management physician. He is the president and medical director of the National Pain Centers and medical director of pain management for Alexian Brothers Medical Center. He earned his medical degree from Northwestern. He did his residency and fellowship at Henry Ford Hospital. He worked with the World Health Organization on global policies in Geneva and fraud and waste reform in America, which we need. He is a regular lecturer and has been part of significant research on hybrid stimulators, hot flashes in breast cancer patients, post-traumatic stress disorder, smoking, and chronic regional pain syndrome. The Interstitial Cystitis Association recommended him to me, and I'm so glad. He is going to answer your pain management questions. You can call them in at 1-866-613-1612. We'll answer as many of them as we can. We have many that have already been emailed to us. After the show, you can go to his website, www.nationalpain.com, to get more information about his center. So, Dr. Joshi, that was a long introduction, but thank you so much for being back on my program.
Well, thank you so much for having me back on your program. I really appreciate all the work that you've done for so long for chronic pain patients, and really that's really what we need is we need people to sort of raise awareness in society about not only just the good that pain management can do, but also the bad. You know, a lot of people want to stay away from talking about the bad things in society, but you really need to talk about it because we can only improve if we know what to improve on. We only can know where we're going once we know where we've been. So I really appreciate you giving that overview because I think it's absolutely essential that we have a good overview before we engage sort of any discussion in pain management.
Mm-hmm. I have a quote that I really like that was written by Elbert Hubbard. It says, "Pain is deeper than all thought. Laughter is higher than all pain."
It's a good quote.
I like that because those endorphins can really help with the pain.
Absolutely.
The first question that was emailed to us comes from Bill T. in Indiana. He asks, what can we use to get more than just 2 to 3 hours of sleep at a time? What meds are there that would keep us asleep through the urge to urinate feeling so we could at least get 5 or 6 hours or hopefully even more hours of restorative sleep?
That's a good question. Actually, it's a great question, really, because it hits on a lot of different points. You know, first of all, sleep is absolutely essential, and in more ways than we might on the surface think. Obviously, when we all lack a good night's sleep, you know, we have a tough time functioning in the morning. You know, we've seen these commercials. I forgot which hotel chain it was for, and even if I remember, I don't want to necessarily plug them on air. But
Right.
we've all seen those commercials where the person doesn't sleep very well, and the next morning they're making some pretty embarrassing mistakes. And obviously, it's for the laughter, but it's absolutely true. Sleep does affect function. Sleep does affect thought and the ability to operate on a higher cognitive level. It causes a lot of the fogginess that patient, you know, lack of sleep causes a lot of fogginess that patients may have, and it goes hand in hand with a lot of different chronic pain states where people will say, well, they just can't concentrate at work, they can't function at work, and if you sort of delve deeper, yeah, of course, the pain that they're having on a daily basis, on a minute-to-minute basis, obviously affects their ability to concentrate. But the lack of sleep also affects their ability to concentrate. So sleep is huge. I mean, it's really one of the major points of treating chronic pain patients is looking at how well are you sleeping. Now, to take it one step farther, exactly like what you said in this question, more than just sleeping for X amount of hours, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, how do we get restorative sleep? So there's a big difference between sleep and restorative sleep. It's one thing to have sleep, so it's great if you can at least have, you know, a few hours, preferably, you know, 6 to 8 hours of sleep. It gives your body some rest. But the problem is a lot of sleep is actually not quality sleep. It's not restorative sleep. What does restorative or quality sleep mean? Well, it means that the body is actually recovering. The body is actually truly resting. The brain has finally entered different patterns, such as the REM sleep, to allow the brain to operate correctly or functionally during the daytime when it's supposed to be awake. There are a lot of sleep medications that are available. There are a lot of medications that can cause sedation. Those medications don't typically give you, a lot of those medications don't typically give you the restorative sleep that people are looking for. A lot of them are hypnotic medications or sedative medications, but they're not medications to help with restorative sleep. So in that case, it is much harder to find those restorative sleep type of medications. Interestingly enough, one of the medications that we use off-label, and there's a lot of, we're going to find that a lot of medications that are used for a variety of different pain conditions, and for the most part, many of them are used off-label. And
can you explain what off-label means, because our
Yep.
listeners may not know that?
Absolutely. So on-label and off-label. On-label means the drug company that has developed this product has spent usually at least $50 million to get a product approved for a certain condition. And that's just the process of getting it approved. That doesn't include the discovery phase of the actual molecule or any of that stuff. Once they have the molecule and they want to do it, they want to specifically get that molecule indicated for a certain disease state, it typically costs at least $50 million to get that approved. So it's a lot of money. And a lot of times you have to do many trials. A lot of times you may end up doing all those trials and find out that that drug isn't approved for that particular condition. You have to repeat that process. So it can be very expensive, obviously. So what they do is they don't get an approval for every single condition out there. It would be cost prohibitive. There'd be no way you could recoup your costs for all the research and development. So typically drug companies try to get an approval for what they think is going to have the most bang for the buck, what they think they're going to get the most prescriptions written for. So for example, there's a medication called Lyrica. And the reason I choose that medication is because one of the side effects, if you will, is a little bit of sleepiness. But the sleepiness that you can actually get from that medication can be restorative sleep. And there have been studies to help support that patients might have some restorative sleep with that medication. Now, there is no FDA indication for restorative sleep with Lyrica, but Lyrica has been approved for a few different indications. Now, it's only been approved for 4 different indications, and many physicians use it off-label for a variety of different conditions. Now, what does off-label mean? Well, off-label means that it's not obviously on-label. So off-label means that there is no FDA indication for that particular drug for a certain condition.
Okay, I'm going to have to interrupt you at this point, and we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we've got a caller on the line from Texas.
Perfect.